What if the very ground that was meant to bring a family together became the tool that drove them apart? In a stunning courtroom revelation, a judge has connected Kody Brown's vision of real estate empire to a scheme of fraud worth millions. And now, the sister wives aren't merely battling for love or allegiance, they're battling for survival. Stick with me, because this tale runs deeper than you ever imagined. And before we get into it, I want to know what you think. Did Kody's real estate aspirations ever have anything to do with family harmony? Or was control always on the agenda? Leave your comments below. I'm reading. The courtroom is thick that morning, as if the air itself is weighted with secrets. Benches groan under the load of viewers, journalists, and former family members who once promised to stand by one another, but now sit worlds apart. At the front row, Kody Brown dabs at his tie, but restless eyes give away the storm raging within. Beside him is Robyn holding a set of papers, her lips sealed tight, muttering prayers beneath breath. Across the aisle, Christine sits stiffly, chin pointed high, the epitome of defiance. Janelle is more subdued, but her eyes glare with questions she never imagined asking in public. Meri, stiff and uncooperative, stands behind folded arms. The judge clears his throat. He's not here to sort out the heartache of a shattered family alone. He's here to sort out a fraud scandal that may shake not just the Browns but the very community viewing from its periphery. Because this is not so much about love or treachery anymore, it's about real estate worth millions of dollars, and someone, somewhere, might have done something wrong. The case started as a whisper: contracts that did not add up, money that appeared to disappear, and land that lay idle while the Browns' hopes dissolved around it. Coyote Pass, the touted grand vision of the family's future, now serves as evidence in an investigation of fraud. Each dream Kody pledged, each blueprint of togetherness, now rests with the judge as possible evidence of deception. 2 years before, Kody had stood on that same soil in the Arizona sun, stretching his arms wide as a preacher. He talked of constructing 4 houses, side by side, a kingdom united where his children and wives could at last flourish. The wives surveyed the ground with varying eyes, some with hope, others with skepticism, some already knowing that this fantasy would become a trap. But here in court, all that expectation has hardened into testimony. Christine's voice breaks as she remembers the promises. He said this was for the family. It was about legacy. But every time we inquired about details, the story varied. The money varied. The room leans forward, as if each of her words is another fissure in the foundation of Kody's empire. Robyn storms in, her voice cutting, nearing desperation. That's not true. He slaved for this family. He gave everything up. The land was going to save us, not kill us. Her tears spill freely, but the face of the judge remains unchanging. Emotion holds no leverage against proof. Janelle, practical to the core, provides a tempered assessment. I wanted to believe, but I kept asking where the money was going, why the loans did not balance, why the land just sat there. And I never received an answer that I trusted. Her words sliced through the courtroom like a knife, not hot, not crying, but cool matter-of-fact disappointment. Kody bangs his fist on the table, unable to keep it inside. This is betrayal. You think I lied? You think I stole? I was trying to hold this family together, and you all left me behind. His voice breaks, but the gavel comes down hard, silencing him. For the first time ever, the patriarch who dominated every story is no longer in control of the narrative. The judge inclines forward, his voice serious. Mr. Brown, this isn't a matter of betrayal of marriage. This is a matter of financial statements, real estate transactions, and possible fraud. And at the moment, the evidence points toward there being more than meets the eye than family squabbles. The silence that ensues is deafening. In the back of the room, a camera snaps. Reporters write madly, and the wives, the women who formerly stood by Kody as equals, sit now as witnesses against him. The lawsuit revolves around the millions invested in land that sits vacant. Appraisers provide testimony that the investments do not equal the value. Paper trails suggest money going in and out of accounts suspiciously. And as each page is projected onto the courtroom screens, the Browns' private empire is dissected for the world to view. If the land was never intended to be developed, then what was the purpose? When court adjourns for the day, the Browns go their separate ways. Christine hurries off, with her face expressionless. Janelle trails behind her, phone to her ear, already making plans. Meri waits, hovering in the background, listening to Robyn and Kody fight in angry but hushed voices. The cameras flash as Kody hurries by, his jaw set. This isn't over, he growls more to himself than to anyone else. And for the first time, even his most ardent supporters can't help but wonder if he's correct. Because when a judge links real estate to fraud, the truth has a tendency to emerge, piece by piece. The walls of the court appear to shut in as Kody Brown approaches, palms damp, heart pounding. All eyes are on him, the wives, the judge, the journalists, and the air is charged with expectation. The day isn't about figures or paperwork, it's about secrets long hidden. And the second the first eye-opening testimony falls, the whole Brown family will have to confront the truth they've been trying to escape. Who will live through this courtroom whirlwind, and who will be revealed? Tune in, because what's about to go down will shake things up. Kody sits alone in the defense table, gazing at the piles of evidence before him. He is aware that each document, each bank statement, each appraisal is a trap laid to destroy the story he has spent years constructing. The silence of the room weighs heavy, punctuated occasionally by the scratch of a pen or the hiss of a photographer's camera. The first witness is introduced, a financial advisor who managed some of the real estate deals. His gaze alternates between the Browns and the judge, as if trying to decide which party is telling the truth. The flow of funds, he starts carefully, was unpredictable. Loans were granted but never recorded, and some transfers seemed to have no discernible purpose. A whisper descends upon the courtroom. Was Kody's dream constructed on shaky foundations? Or even worse, lies? Robyn's hands shake as she clutches her notebook against her body. We believed in him, she murmurs to whoever will listen. Her voice breaks, but she continues, describing moments where she doubted. And Kody's justifications differed from the truth. Christine sits back in her chair and folds her arms. She doesn't have to say a word. Her scowl conveys what she feels about the so-called family harmony. The second hook catches here. Mid-session. If the walls were talking, they'd scream. Every broken promise, every unaccounted dollar. The truth is far more convoluted than anyone could possibly imagine. The judge cuts him off with a stern voice. Brown, we will go about this in an orderly fashion. Testimony and evidence, not anger, will decide this case. Kody swallows hard, his head nodding, but his jaw still clenched. He knows he's being watched for more than screw-ups, but for the shadow of betrayal. The most emotionally charged testimony to date follows. Meri standing for the first time in weeks. She takes her place at the stand, adjusting the microphone, speaking softly at first. I believed in the vision. I wanted to believe that we were creating something for us all, a future that we could share. But whenever I asked questions about money, I received excuses. I began to worry that it wasn't merely mismanagement. She pauses, tears welling in her eyes, that it was done deliberately. Each heart in the room is gripped. The family that had appeared to be so close is disintegrating before the eyes of hundreds, and the world is seeing every sob, every finger point. The drama builds as Janelle herself gets up on the stand next. She testifies to intimate conversation, hushed forewarning, and times she felt sure that Kody was manipulating not only money, but the feelings of every wife. We weren't just losing money, she explains. We were losing trust, and trust is harder to rebuild than any house or land. The third hook lands here, deeper in the drama. Trust isn't just broken, it's shattered. And when millions are at stake, shattered trust can become a weapon. Beyond the courtroom, journalists write on notebooks. Sister wives, real estate scandal uncovered. One of them writes. Another takes a photo, capturing the anger on Kody's face and the quiet despair on Robyn's. Each shot, each sentence, creates a picture of what once was an idealized family close but now broken by greed, ambition, and secret motives. The judge orders a recess, and the room clears just enough for whispers to ring out. Kody hunches over his hands, while Robyn edges over to him, her voice barely above a whisper. We can do this, she says, but her own words belie uncertainty, and Kody knows she doesn't know if she means it for him, or the family that's slipping away from him with every discovery. The fourth hook, positioned for retention. One revelation can tip the scales, and one misstep can destroy everything you thought you knew about family loyalty and truth. With testimony continuing, specialists have charts, spreadsheets, and records of email correspondence, demonstrating payment and transactions between accounts. Every line on the page is broken down in minute detail. The judge presses Kody, who struggles with explanations that are rehearsed, defensive, and sometimes contradictory. Wives glance at one another, the glances low-key but freighted with accusation. Christine's glare alone has a piercing quality, her incredulity a rebuke in wordless silence. Robyn's voice crescendos once more, begging the court, "This isn't about money. This is about every vow he made. Everything he said was meant to hold us together." Her anger then turns to fear, the kind that rears only when years of trust collapse within a single afternoon. With every witness, the family's kingdom of trust and hope diminishes, reduced to nothing but uncertainty and suspense in its wake. The courtroom clock is ticking more loudly than usual. Each second is like a heartbeat racing toward the disclosure that would devastate Kody's credibility, and perhaps the family as a whole. Whispers run through the onlookers, each one placing more pressure on the already suffocating environment. And then the bombshell. The financial advisor submits a report linking several real estate buys to mysterious transfers of millions. Transfers not only questionable, but suspicious enough to trigger criminal investigation. Gasps fill the courtroom. The wives glance at Kody, scanning his face for answers that don't exist. As the session ends, the judge looks around the room, his tone steady but chilling. This case is far from over. And based on the evidence so far, it is clear that what was once considered family business may now be interpreted as something far more complicated and serious. Outside these walls, the family's future hangs by a thread. Every decision, every word spoken here, could redefine their lives forever. The Browns exit the courtroom, their silence heavy with emotion. Kody's face is a mask of disbelief and frustration. Robyn stays by his side, touching her hand to his arm, but the distance between them is more extensive than the Arizona desert landscape beyond the courtroom. Christine and Janelle bring up the rear, heads held high, but their hearts heavy. Meri stays behind, hovering almost unseen, but her eyes alert, capturing every detail. And as the doors are closed, the murmurs of the crowd are a reminder to all things are only going to get darker, and the most explosive twists are still ahead. The tension is palpable as Kody Brown returns to the courtroom. His gaze scans the room nervously, falling upon each wife in sequence. The air is charged with suspense. Any whisper, any look has the power to tip the balance. Now years of secrets are finally revealed, and one of them has the potential to ruin everything Kody thought he had under his control. Everyone's question hanging in the air is easy yet horrifying. Who will survive the storm? And who will be exposed to everyone? The courtroom is full to the brim, and the atmosphere is tense. Cameras snap relentlessly, catching every scowl, every jerk, every infinitesimal movement. The Browns occupy different corners, each with their own tempest of feeling. Kody's shoulders are knotted, jaw locked as if he's physically holding himself back from striking out. Robyn is seated nearest to him, fists clenched, knuckles white, a tempest brewing in her eyes. Across the room, Christine's eyes flash with suspicion. Janelle remains composed yet tense, and Meri is distant, lost in her own thoughts, quietly observing the unraveling chaos. The judge taps his gavel, calling the room to attention. We will now proceed with the testimony regarding the real estate transactions and associated financial discrepancies, he announces. The words hang in the air like a warning, the tension nearly unbearable. The first witness of the day is an accountant, one who has spent months digging through the Browns' financial statement. She rises, her face stern but guarded. After examining the finances associated with the Coyote Pass property, she starts. I found several transactions in excess of $4 million that do not have any explanation. Her statement rings through the room, like a clap of thunder. Every gaze snaps to Kody, whose face goes white. $4 million, unaccounted for. And with each question answered, the family teeters closer to the brink. How could a dream home turn into a house of secrets? The voice of Robyn shakes as she intercedes, hardly able to restrain her aggravation. We trusted him. We trusted this family, this vision. How is what was intended to keep us safe reduced to a piece of evidence against us? Hers is a glance that flickers to Kody, seeking explanations she knows he might not have. Christine's lips compress into a thin line. She is silent, but her silence is enough. Betrayal's weight is etched on her face, every line a testament of shattered trust. The trial resumes, and the next witness is called up. A retired contractor who was originally hired to build out the property. Work never started as promised, he says matter-of-factly. The plans were in, but construction never started. Payments were made, but there's no account of materials, no permits issued, nothing material. The courtroom stirs. Kody fidgets in his chair. Each broken promise, each lost record, is a thread that is unraveling the very skillfully constructed tapestry of Kody's business empire. And with each discovery, the trust of the wives erodes further. Meri finally stands, her voice soft but slicing through the anxiety like a knife. I did want to believe. I really did. But every excuse, every postponement, every lost paper, it felt like a fiction we were all living. Her gaze moves between Kody and the judge. We trusted him to guide this family. And now we don't even know what's truth. The judge leans forward, his eyes piercing. He takes notes as he speaks. Mr. Brown, please tell me about these discrepancies, he says, his tone mild but authoritative. Kody gulps. I felt I was doing the right thing, he stutters. The plans, the investments, it was meant to secure our future. Janelle slouches forward, her tone firm but piercing. But why were the accounts showing money shifting without explanation? Why did you deny us transparency when we asked? Her words ring out like a hammer striking reality into the courtroom walls. When millions go unexplained, every word, every alibi is evidence, and every family secret a reason to fear exposure. The second phase of the trial introduces a financial investigator. He carefully spreads out emails, contracts, and bank statements, tracking the flow of millions of dollars of real estate money. Some transactions were run through personal accounts, non-related businesses, and offshore entities. Although we cannot yet determine intent, the pattern indicates intentional concealment. The wives' faces reflect shock, disbelief, and heartbreak. Robyn's hand rests on her mouth, as if she's going to suppress the gasp that wants to come out. Christine slowly shakes her head, not able to grasp the entire extent of what is being said. Janelle's eyes go back and forth between the papers and Kody, looking for any indication that he's being honest. And Meri, she shuts her eyes, preparing herself for the emotional hurt of the betrayal she can feel deep in her bones. Each document flash, each transaction challenge, brings the family closer to a breaking point, and the audience can sense the tension coiling tighter like a vise. The third hook comes as the testimony. Secrets don't stay buried forever. And in this courtroom, every hidden detail is about to surface, with consequences no one could predict. The judge squints, his eyes over the rim of his glasses. Mr. Brown, your family and personal accounts are enmeshed and complex. Do you comprehend the gravity of these entanglements? Kody clenches his hands on the table edge. Yes, Your Honor, he answers, his voice trembling with fear. I never meant to deceive anyone. I just wanted to safeguard my family. Robyn inches closer, muttering hotly under her breath. Protect us? By concealing the truth? Kody doesn't say a word. The air in the room is thick, each second stretching out the agony and suspense. Outside, journalists rush to get every second on tape. Tweets zip, headlines twist, and the people at home watching feel that this is not merely another family saga. This is a raging legal and emotional tempest. Each new discovery slices deeper than the previous one, keeping viewers on the edge of their seats. The session ends with the sound of the judge's voice echoing over the quiet room. This court will reconvene tomorrow. All parties are reminded that new evidence has been submitted and may dramatically impact proceedings. The Browns exit the courtroom in silence, each step more weighty than the last, because tomorrow, everything they had known about their family, their money, and themselves might be lost. As Kody leaves, his face is white, lips set in a tight line. Robyn's hand touches his arm, but even she senses the space increasing between them. Christine goes by with a barely perceptible sneer, a silent recognition that she understands more than anyone else in the room. Janelle goes by tentatively, and Meri hangs back, face inscrutable, saving every detail to replay later. Outside, the sun beats down in Arizona, but the warmth of the courtroom lives in their heads. The family that appeared immovable is now splintered by secrets, money scandal, and emotional betrayals. And as the doors close behind them, the audience is left with a single chilling thought. The next session might alter everything. The courtroom is on the verge of blowing its top. All eyes are on Kody Brown as he enters, his feet tentative but sure. The atmosphere is charged, humming with whispers and anticipation. Today, the secrets nobody ever had the courage to utter will be revealed. Deceit, betrayal, and ulterior motives crash into one another, and each revelation promises to shred the Brown family to pieces. Who will hold firm, and who will break under the truth. Stay with me. At the end of this session, things will never be the same. Kody sits down, hands damp, holding the table's edge as if it might hold him to some kind of command. Robyn sits next to him, her hands clenched around her notebook, her eyes flitting nervously between the judge and her husband. On the other side of the aisle sit Christine, Janelle, and Meri with faces that hold anything from scorn to muted rage. The air is thick, almost choking as the judge regards the room. Let's proceed. The judge begins, voice calm but commanding. We will now examine correspondence and internal communications related to the real estate transactions. The first piece of evidence is introduced, emails between Kody and a real estate advisor. Each message is analyzed, breaking down promises of development, promises of financial security, and persistent delays. But hidden in the chain are veiled hints that purport to be misdirection, imprecise justifications for lost funds and erratic plans. Pledges made on paper will disintegrate quicker than bricks, and in this courtroom, all of Kody's words ever penned could be thrown back in his face. Robyn's hands tremble as she reads the marked passages aloud. He said everything was for the family, she repeats, her voice shaking, but the figures, they never balance. Each explanation a delaying tactic, a method of obfuscation, of hiding something further. Her eyes look for Kody's remorse, for honesty, but detect only defensiveness. Christine reaches forward, her voice cold. I don't want to hear excuses anymore. I believed him, all of us did, and now this whole family is getting pulled into the repercussions of choices we didn't make. She gently taps her palm against the bench for effect, the noise ringing throughout the room. The judge requests a brief recess. The Browns huddle out, tension wound like a spring about to break. Whispers fly outside, reporters scribble frantically, recording the emotional aftershocks. When the testimony begins again, the second hook takes effect, increasing the stakes even further. Every secret exposed is like a spark in dry wood. One revelation, and the whole house of family trust could blaze up. Then the accountant comes back to deliver a detailed analysis of the money trail. Charts and diagrams show millions being funneled through accounts without any obvious purpose, some noted as loans, others as administrative fees, and some untraceable. The force of the evidence is irrefutable. Meri stands up, her complexion deathly pale but determined. We were promised openness, she whispers. Each time we inquired, we were assured. But the papers say otherwise. The dream we thought in, it never existed. Her voice cracks, resonating across the courtroom. Janelle, who has been calm so far, finally gets to say something. I kept posing questions, hoping to know. But each response raised more questions. And now it's apparent that we've been making our way through a maze with no way out, one constructed by the person we trusted most. Each sheet of paper, each graph, each statistic is a nail in the coffin of trust, and the family discovers too late that money can't purchase loyalty or integrity. The third hook hits as the session heats up. When ambition conceals deceit, the repercussions aren't simply monetary, they're emotional, heartbreaking, and unavoidable. Tensions reach boiling point when a previous family lawyer is summoned. Some of the transactions are structured in a manner that might mislead family members and investors. The lawyer says carefully but firmly. Though intention cannot be established as yet, the complexity implies intentional concealment. The courtroom gasps. Kody's expression sets, veins standing out on his forehead. Robyn clutches his arm, eyes staring, anger and terror swirling in a storm ready to overflow. Christine slowly shakes her head, incredulity carved into every crevice of her face. Janelle fists her hands, struggling to keep the fury boiling beneath her placid surface in check. The judge edges forward, voice sharp. Mr. Brown, these revelations cast serious doubts on intent, transparency, and responsibility. What do you have to say? Kody gulps. I did what I believed was best, he mumbles. I didn't intend to deceive anyone. The land, the money, the houses, it was meant to be our future. His words linger in the air, tenuous and unconvincing. Robyn whispers, half to herself, secure our future. At the expense of everything we have. The venom in her tone is reflected on the emotion in the courtroom. Outside the walls of the abandoned house, the media storm is unrelenting. The headlines shriek of scandal, betrayal, and millions missing. Viewers theorize interminably on Twitter and Facebook, analyzing every bombshell, every cry, every fierce argument. The narrative has taken over the country, and the emotional investment has never been greater. As the sun sets, the judge issues a threatening warning. We will reconvene with additional testimony. Be advised that other evidence has been filed, which may further complicate the family's position and financial integrity. The Browns exit the courtroom, weighed down by foreboding. The truth, once buried deep, is now surfacing, capable of washing away every tie, every vow, every semblance of family harmony. The family breaks up, each bearing the weight of secrets and repercussions. Kody's jaw is still clenched, his eyes darting to Robyn, questioning if she still trusts him. Robyn's hand touches his arm, but even she senses the expanding chasm between trust and reality. Christine's icy glint trails after Kody as he departs, a silent accusation that screams inaudibly. Janelle creeps along, her mind in overdrive, attempting to make sense of the deceit. Meri stays behind, nearly undetectable, but each look she sends files for herself on the developing catastrophe. Outside, the Arizona sun is setting, but in here the tempest is brewing. The Browns' hallowed universe of family and aspiration is crumbling, brick by brick, and the next session may hold such explosive revelations that they will remake everything. The courtroom is charged, all seats taken, all eyes on Kody Brown. Today is not just a hearing. It is the day when all the smoke and mirrors get burned away. All the rumors, all the secret deals, all the lies are going to come together in a whirlwind that will blow away not only a fortune, but a family. Hearts beat fast, breaths quicken, and one question lingers in the air. Who will be left standing from this courtroom war zone, and who will be revealed to the world? Don't blink. This is the make or break moment, where dreams and betrayal collide. Kody enters the courtroom, taut, shoulders tense, eyes flitting apprehensively around the room. Robyn is seated next to him, clasping her notebook with a grip so tight that her knuckles are bleached. Across the aisle, Christine, Janelle, and Meri all sit erect, each with a different mixture of anger, suspicion, and muted heartache. The tension is palpable, lying heavy over them like the desert heat outside. The judge starts, voice firm but authoritative. We now move to the last evidence and testimony on the money and property transactions that have led this family to court. The first witness is an accountant who spent months digging into the property investment. He paints a picture, millions of dollars shifting between accounts, inexplicable transfers, and contradictory records. Charts flash on the courtroom screens, tracking money that should have constructed homes, but instead disappeared into thin air. Millions pledged for family security, but the trail goes to deceit, disarray, and treachery, and each exposé is destroying the Browns. Robyn's voice is loud, shaking but biting. We believed in him. Each scheme, each blueprint was to keep our family safe. How could it become this? She glares at Kody, seeking regret or justification, but meets only defensiveness. Christine leans forward, cold and controlled. Trust is lost. Every vow made sounds like a lie now. The dream we all subscribed to, was it ever real, or was it an act? The judge requests a brief recess. Kody goes outside, attempting to compose himself, but the burden of judgment does not abate. Robyn accompanies him, speaking softly, "We need to face the truth, together." But even she cannot hide her own hesitation, and the cracks in the underpinnings of the family she has struggled to maintain are audible. Each secret hidden, each conspiracy buried, is now revealed, and the price of that may devastate more than bank books. When witness testimony resumes, attention turns to Kody's individual involvement in the transaction. Attorneys pepper him with questions, producing emails, contracts, and financial records, contradicting earlier accounts. Every exchange erodes the credibility he's enjoyed for decades. Meri comes forward to make one last statement, voice low but sharp. "We wanted to believe in the family, in the dream, but it wasn't just mismanagement. It feels intentional, and that betrayal slices deeper than any loss of money." Janelle stands up, calm but angry. "I asked questions, I demanded answers, and received only muddying. Every move you made, every mysterious transfer, it's like manipulation, not only of finances, but of us, of our trust." The courtroom is charged, each word magnified by the urgency. Kody attempts to answer, but the burden of evidence and emotion overwhelms his words. I wanted to do right by everyone," he stammers, voice cracking. I thought I was protecting the family. The very ground that held them safe now promises to destroy the foundation of love, trust, and togetherness that once united this family. The third hook lands, heightening the tension. When ambition masks deception, every revelation becomes a weapon, and the fallout can strike those you love most. A last-minute witness, a former business associate, appears with stunning evidence, financial documents indicating that some of the money was funneled into personal accounts and unsubstantiated expenses. Gasp spreads through the courtroom. Even the judge leans forward, eyebrows furrowed. Kody's face is white, lips pinched together. Robyn holds his hand, but she holds it firmly only halfway as a reassurance, halfway as a restraint. Christine shakes her head slowly, shock written across her face. Janelle's fists clench in her lap, and Meri turns away, as if she cannot stand to look at the destruction being revealed. The judge pauses, looking around the room. This case has uncovered not only financial mismanagement, but a complete failure of trust and openness within this family. Intentions may be arguable, but evidence indicates willful behavior that merits serious attention. The courtroom is still, every individual absorbing the gravity of what they've learned. Kody breathes shakily, the sense striking him that control has been lost completely in his hands. Robyn speaks quietly, leaning in. We can get through this, but only if we do it together. Outside, reporters rush to record the aftermath. Social media is abuzz, gossiping endlessly about the Browns' future. Fans argue allegiances, analyze each twist, and ponder, can this family ever heal? Each promise broken, each secret disclosed, puts the Browns at a crossroads, and the next choice could set the course of their lives. As the session ends, the family departs from the courtroom in tense silence. Kody's jaw clenches, eyes haunted. Robyn follows him, hand brushing his arm, not sure if she's grasping or releasing. Christine and Janelle walk together, exchanging a glance that is half sorrow and half vindication. Meri lingers behind, silent but watchful, every detail memorized. The Arizona sun goes down, casting long shadows on the courthouse steps. Inside, the ghosts of confrontation and betrayal remain. Outside, the world waits, held hostage, aware that the next page of the Browns' story remains to be written. What do you believe? Was Kody ever really doing his best to keep his family safe? Or was this promise empire always a house of secrets? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, because we want to know how you think the story is going to turn out.